In this video, we're going to walk through setting up a local service ads account if you do not already have one. You can just type in local service ads in Google and then you'll find this page. It is different from the Google ads we're typically used to, right? Which is pay-per-click. This is actually a pay-per-lead type of advertising. You'll see a lot of these ads say Google guaranteed, Google screened, license verified. This is exactly what local service ads are. Local service ads appear at the very top now on Google for specific niches. Not anyone can run local service ads. It's still limited to a select amount of industries or niches, which you can see here. More typically, you're going to see this for like home services or service-based businesses like lawyers, roofers, accounting, real estate, and then some other things like dentists, tutoring, and some, I think they do like pet grooming, automotive, beauty, a lot of barbers, lashes, stuff like that. So if you don't see your business in here, you probably can't run local service ads. But for most of you, you're probably in one of these niches, and they are constantly rolling out other different industries or niches. Just to give you an example, I typed in roofer near me, and you'll see that the first two results now are Google guaranteed or local service ads. It's the same thing. People just use different terms. These are local service ads. These down here are Google ads. And then, of course, you have your Google business profiles, and then you have your organic searches. Organic searches or SEO are pretty far down there. I mean, SEO is still important, and that's not the topic of this video, but it's pretty clear Google is pushing them way down there. So they're really prioritizing their local service ads and their Google pay-per-click ads. Now, the local service ads look much different than the pay-per-click ads, right? These look incredibly different. These almost operate as very simple as just call or message. There's not much more to it. If you click on it, it just shows me a little profile. There really isn't much actual ad copy or anything. In fact, there is no ad copy. There's like traits, right? So you can choose things like this. These are all predetermined little things you can choose, like free estimate, background check, all this stuff. None of this is actually being manually written by the business or by the customer. These are a select settings and features you can enable, toggle on or off to show in your ad. Then you can add images and stuff, but we'll cover that in a minute. I just wanted you to see what a local service ad looks like. And then let's go ahead and dive into getting started. So you can go ahead and click the get started or maybe even claim your ads credit and follow the next few steps. The screen it takes you to when you click get started is definitely going to differ than mine. I'm in a MCC or a manager setup, so I'm setting it up for a client. But regardless, it's going to ask you the same questions likely. It's going to go, are you an advertiser or a new advertiser, right? For this guy, we're already running pay-per-click. So if you're already running pay-per-click or PPC ads, you can click for existing and then fill out this relevant information. If you're new, you click new and then you go ahead and just select what's necessary. So I filled out his information. They are a tutoring company. So I'm going to scroll down. These are all of the different industries or businesses that can actually run LSA. So this is actually really good if you want to maybe pause and kind of read this along with me if you're not sure if you can run it. But yeah, they have a lot of choices. But for this guy, we're going to go ahead and select tutoring, which is going to be at the very bottom here. And then we'll go ahead and click create account. After you click create account and answer probably like one or two questions about your business and business type, fill out some contact information and stuff, you're going to get taken to a screen like this. This is your step-by-step checklist for getting approved to run local service ads. It may by default already pull in your business profile and your customer reviews. If not, that's okay. You can easily sync it through one of these two tabs. But for most of you, if you're signing up with an existing Google Ads account or the Google email, the Gmail associated with your business profile, it'll sync, which makes things very, very easy. Now, as for some of these other tabs here, it may differ quite a lot. For example, if you were a lawyer, it's probably going to ask for some sorts of licensing. It's going to want to know who your lawyers are. It's going to want headshots. It's going to want your license ID, where you graduated college from, all this kind of stuff, right? If you're a roofer, it's going to ask for insurance and licensing and state licensing and stuff like that. In this case, I've actually never set it up for a tutoring, so it seems pretty straightforward and simple. They're just asking some basic questions. Billing information, again, if you're already linked to a Google Ads account, it's probably going to automatically sync it here. Otherwise, if you are not linked to a Google Ads account or you haven't ran Google Ads before, cool. This is where you go ahead and enter your billing information. There'll be a little prompt right here that redirects you to the billing page. We can also upload our background check here. It's going to have you go through a third party called Evident right here. There will be a little button that says take me to Evident or whatever, and then we'll open a separate tab where you can then start your background check. And there's going to be several people in your business that needs to at least fill this out. Most of the time, it's going to be your employees or like executives that need to pass this background check. Very simple. It's third party, but it's all synced. Just make sure you do it through the link in your local service ads. Bidding and budget. This is obviously where we set our budgets, right? You can set different bidding strategies such as max per lead or maximize leads. For most of you, you're going to want to start with nothing other than automated bidding, maximize leads. You don't need to set a target cost per lead, or at least not yet. We're not going to get into that right now, but you should probably just leave it as this. And then you can go ahead and set your budget. It's going to be a weekly budget. It's not going to be perfect. Something I will tell you, unlike PPC, do not expect your local service ads to spend money. That sounds crazy. I feel like 50% of the accounts I work on, they rarely ever spend, or at least it takes several weeks to ramp up. So in some cases, we have these budgets set to like $20,000 a week just to try and get Google to spend. And then other accounts have no problem spending, so we set a more realistic budget. Just keep an eye on your budget and how much you're actually spending or how many leads you're getting. If you're underspending, if you're not getting any leads at all, you might want to add another 0 and just bump this up and see what happens. Because remember, this is pay per lead only. You only get paid when you get a validated or relevant lead that comes in. But go ahead and set your bidding and your budget. We'll do $500 a week for now, just to start it off pretty slow. We already have him submitted his background check, so that's all good. Might take a week, sometimes a little bit more, a little bit less to go through. Billing information should already be synced through Google Ads. Him and I already set this up. It just says add details for whatever reason. It's probably just glitched, but it'll fix itself later. Then in this case, we'll have to add the client, the workers, the employees, and all this stuff. Pretty straightforward. We'll add his email, and then we will choose his job category, right? So he's the tutor, obviously. And then he is the business owner or partner, so we'll leave that checked. And a little headshot, little photo of him. And then there's anyone else that's like important or higher up that needs to be included, we'll go ahead and add them as well. Take some time to get through all this. Shouldn't take too long. I recommend being at your computer for this. And then in the upper left, you can actually navigate to the other tabs. The other tab to actually set up your account, your ads, and your profile is going to be the profile and budget here. There's a lot we can cover here. We can kind of break it down piece by piece. Up here at the top is like your high-level overview of your profile. This is where you can change the website, which isn't super important. Most leads are phone calls or messages. But what you want to do here is you want to click this little pencil icon to change your business bio. This is what I was talking about earlier. Google lets you only choose from like pre-selected, predefined things to actually adjust your local service ads. So there's actually no like ad copy, right? We're not typing in our own ad copy. We're just choosing from these different things that Google allows us to based on our niche. So you just pick whatever. You can only pick 6. So pick whatever is most relevant to you and honestly seems like the most important to get attention. This isn't like, the biggest deal, but you also should not leave this blank. Just fill it out. I'm going to go ahead and only select a couple now just because I need to ask the client which of those are relevant. I'm not too sure which we can choose and which we can't. So we'll go ahead and ask the client and fill out the rest later. We already selected our bidding, our budget, and all that good stuff. If you haven't, you can also change that right here. Pretty simple. And then this little tab here just shows you how many leads you've actually generated the last 7 days. Of course, our ads aren't live yet, so we don't have any. Now, job types. This is where you tell Google what type of jobs or what type of leads are you eligible to receive? What type of leads do you want to receive? Obviously, this is going to differ the way it looks based on what industry or niche you chose. We're a tutorer, so we only have the option between language instructor and tutor, and you can click the drop down and get more specified. So for example, we're only doing SAT and college prep here, so I can pretty much unselect everything that isn't for college entrance, right? And again, I'll clarify this with the client just to make sure. I'm not even sure if they do SAT prep on local service ads, but for example, you would just trim this down to only select the things you want to actually advertise or get leads for. We don't want to get leads for any of these, so I'm going to unselect all of them. For you, for example, if you were a roofer, you would probably choose like repairs, replacements, new roofs, installs, that kind of thing. If you don't do repairs, you wouldn't select repairs. Once you've selected the proper services or lead types, go ahead and click save, and then that is what you will get leads for. I recommend leaving other unselected because we don't really know what that means, and typically when we choose and enable other, it brings us some pretty low quality leads and just weird things. Now, settings, this is how you get your leads, or I guess how you get your leads, how they come in. So message leads, these will come in through here where you actually have to monitor. I think it'll be in the leads tab. You can actually have live chats and messages with them. That's great if you have someone at the computer who can keep this open. The notifications do go to your phone, but there is no phone app. So I recommend enabling this if you have a receptionist or someone who can reply to messages. Again, these are also going to be text and email. It says right here. So again, if you have someone available to take those texts, take those emails, take those messages, keep it on. Do you want to get email leads? Do you want to get text message leads? What other kind of leads do you want? If you have a third-party booking service like Square, you can actually sync that to your local service ads account and let people direct or book directly from here. So we've already synced his Square account, so that's something we're doing. Direct business search means branded. Do you want your local service ad to show when someone types in your business name? For most of you, you're probably going to want to leave this off, right? Most people don't spend money on branded. There's no need. But hey, if you do, this is where you turn it on. So this is how ours looks. He said yes to everything, so we're good with everything. For most of you, you might just be doing email and calls only, which is completely fine. On the left, you can add photos. Just do exactly what they tell you here, right? You should add team member photos, photos of your truck, of your van, of your crew, of your owner, of your dentist, of your lawyer, of your office, of your law firm, all those kind of stuff. Don't add stock photos. If you add stock photos, your ads will not perform. It's just horrible. It's ugly. Even if the photos you add, you think they look ugly, trust me, it's the authentic. Well, I can't speak. It's the fact that they're authentic that people care about, right? Like, come on, we know it's real. That's what we want to see. Especially stuff like this, though. Maybe obviously aim for high quality photos. Like if you're a remodeler or you do hair, yeah, you should probably aim for really high quality photos. But if you're just a field worker, a plumber, electrician, a roofer, or even a lawyer, yeah, just show off your team, show off your crew, show off the office. It's okay if it's a little low quality. But yeah, add photos here. There's really no secret tip or trick here. Just add more good, relevant, and a lot of photos. Photos cannot contain your phone number in them or like too much overlay text and graphics. Just keep that in mind. So these example photos are pretty much exactly the only things you can add, like actual raw photos. Professional, you may not have this tab. This depends on the service you chose. If you're like a lawyer or something that needs to get the person verified and approved with like their license and background, this is where you would add in your professional, right? So this is from the other tab where we actually add people, we add the executives, we add the owner, we add the employees. In this case, this would be like our tutors. So people can actually browse what tutors are available and, obviously have their license and all this stuff. Service areas, this is pretty self-explanatory. You can just add in your service areas. So if we service New York, boom, New York. If we service a certain postal code, boom, we add in the postal code here. Pretty straightforward. And if there's areas you don't want to service, like maybe you don't service a specific zip code right here, cool, you could exclude it. This is super straightforward and simple to use. Just go ahead and click save when you're done in the bottom right. Lastly, business hours. Again, pretty straightforward. When do you want to get leads or when do you want your ads to be eligible to serve? Maybe it's 24/7. Maybe it's business hours only. Maybe you're closed on some days. Or maybe some days you're open earlier than others. Whenever you're available to answer and reply to leads is when this should be on. Keep in mind local service ads, they have like an internal like ranking thing based on how you get leads, and budget is that the only answer. Yes, the more money you spend, the more you'll get leads, maybe the more your ad shows. But in terms of actual rankings, it's lead response time. If you are responding to your leads, your messages, your phone calls, your emails faster than anyone else, they're going to continue to serve your ad and show you and get leads. If you don't answer these calls for hours or you don't get back to leads for a day or two, they're going to penalize you on the back end and your ads will not serve really. Like they're going to really slow down and you will notice it. So just keep that in mind. Don't make this 24/7 if you really can't answer a phone call at 11 p.m., right? So be careful with that. And on top of lead response time, something else important is going to be how you actually manage and tag your leads. Let's go ahead and talk about that. This is probably the last thing we'll cover too. Go ahead and open your little hamburger menu and scroll down to leads. This is where you can actually see your lead portal, like your CRM. You can change the filter up top. We're looking at everything at all-time data. Of course, we don't have any leads to show, but I can still explain this to you. Leads will can't talk again. Leads will appear here when they come in. Typically, They'll appear as not charged, meaning Google has not charged you for them yet. It's pending, like its little AI thing is still reading the transcript. Google will charge you for a lead if it's a relevant lead. So if like the AI transcript or whatever deems based on the transcript, the phone call, the voicemail, the message that, yep, this is a guy looking for a new roof, they're going to charge you for it. Now, if the AI transcript picks up, hey, I'm looking for a job, you guys hiring, Google probably won't charge you for that lead since it's an invalid lead. Now, if there's issues with leads, you can typically dispute them. I just switched tabs to one that actually does have leads. So this is a client of ours, so you can see a better example, right? Much better. You can see the information about the client, or sorry, the lead, the customer, when they came in and all that stuff. Charge status, you can see they got charged. This one they did not get charged for. It was probably like a spam lead or something. Credited, that means they did originally get charged for it, but Google refunded them. You can see right there as I hover over it, it tells you what that means. But this is something you want to keep an eye on. Not only is this your lead, so you can check this daily to say, hey, did I miss anyone? Did we have to follow up on anyone? Do I need to check on anything? This is a good little portal to check in on things. But it's also important that we're proactively tagging these leads that come in. So let's go ahead and just change the filter, and we'll change it to new lead since there's different statuses of leads. So this is a new lead. Looks like it came in 3 days ago, has not been charged yet. We can click on it to interact with it and see more information. We can see all the little high-level data that Google provided us with. Looks like they were looking for an immigration lawyer. Their numbers at the top and all that stuff. You can even expand this, and if it's not a missed call or they left a voicemail, you can listen to the call recording, the transcript, or the voicemail. Looks like this was a missed call, so this would be important to note for you or your reception. If you see this, you could go, oh shoot, we forgot to dial this customer. Let's go ahead and give them a call back. Now, something else to note is you have a few different options here to interact with your lead. One, let's say you did get a voicemail. Let's say you did talk to this person and it was horrible. It was like a spam call, a sales call, someone looking for a job. Well, in that case, you can go ahead and click rate this lead and just mark it as incredibly unsatisfied or whatever. Typically, they'll catch on to that and give you your refund or your credit back. Otherwise, you don't really need to worry about this unless it was a bad lead. Now, if it was just a good lead and it just didn't work out and they didn't go with you, that's life. They're not going to credit you for that, right? But these other two options are pretty important. So something I tell my clients is you do not want to leave leads in the new or active column for like more than a couple days to a week, right? So you can see we have one new lead here. If we go to active, we have quite a lot. We have 10 actually, not the end of the world, but we have a lot. And these are pretty recent leads too, so that's okay. But if you have leads from like 2-3 months ago that are sitting here, Google's kind of reading that and looking at you like, wow, these people don't follow up. These people don't do anything with their leads. We're giving them leads that they're doing nothing with. We're going to stop giving them leads. So that's something to keep in mind. Not only is response time important, but how you flag or interact with these leads is important. So for example, and let's say you talk to this person, they were good. You could click mark them as booked. That way it kind of moves them along the pipeline and tells Google, hey, I'm interacting with these leads. We're moving these leads along. We're booking appointments. We're scheduling jobs. Mark them as booked. And that tells Google, hey, good job. We're moving on to the next one. If it didn't work out or you're just doing like a cleanup and a purge, just archive it and delete the lead. Obviously, assuming you've already collected the information and spoke to them. Just do these cleanups. Clean up this thing. Don't keep this stacked up. You don't want 50 leads going back 3 months in this tab here because you will notice Google will penalize you. So in this case, they're doing okay, right? I mean, the last lead was 4 days ago. That's pretty valid. But if these were from January or February, we would be doing a lot of archiving and cleaning up. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, make your profile optimized, nice, all that good stuff. But mainly, lead response time and lead tagging is going to be a huge factor in ensuring that you get active leads, you actually don't get penalized in your rankings and all that good stuff. This was a pretty high-level overview of what we can do here with local service ads, and there's definitely a lot to do. I love running them side-by-side pay-per-click, especially because one will sometimes perform better than the other. Some weeks pay-per-click is on fire. Some weeks local service ads are on fire. And obviously, it's good to have both, especially when you see how Google is now kind of arranging it in the search feed, right? It's nice to kind of dominate both and be available at both times. If you have any questions or concerns at all, let me know, and I'm happy to dive further. Thank you.